The honey badger moves cautiously through the African savanna, unaware that danger is already closing in. Ahead, a large predator watches from the grass while the honey badger continues forward, keeping its body low and alert. Across the African savanna, danger can come from anywhere. The honey badger moves deeper into the tall golden grass, but suddenly, a massive vulture appears above, circling lower and lower as it searches for an opportunity. The honey badger notices the shadow and immediately changes direction, racing toward a rocky area for cover. But the wilderness offers no easy escape. As the honey badger reaches the rocks, a large monitor lizard suddenly emerges from the vegetation only a few steps away. The honey badger freezes, its eyes locked on the new threat. The monitor lizard suddenly rushes forward, its powerful tail sweeping across the grass. The honey badger reacts instantly, jumping sideways as the tail cuts through the space where it stood a moment before. The lizard turns and advances again, forcing the honey badger toward open ground, but the badger refuses to retreat. The monitor lizard lunges again, snapping its jaws toward the honey badger, but the badger drops low, slips beneath the attack, and circles around the lizard's side. Every time the lizard turns, the honey badger changes direction, refusing to give its opponent a clean opening. The monitor lizard becomes frustrated and suddenly charges with all its strength, trying to trap the honey badger against the rocks. But the badger reacts before the attack can close in, darts sideways, and disappears behind the rocks. For a moment, the larger predator stands motionless, realizing that brute force alone will not stop this relentless survivor. Then a dark shadow sweeps across the ground. The honey badger looks up and the vulture is back. The massive bird dives toward the open ground, while the monitor lizard also turns toward the sudden movement. For one chaotic moment, three predators occupy the same battlefield, and the honey badger must find an escape route before danger closes in from every direction. The honey badger reaches the rocks just as the vulture pulls upward, but the monitor lizard is still nearby, blocking the safest path. The badger stops for only a heartbeat, then makes a bold decision. It runs straight toward the lizard. The monitor lizard turns and opens its jaws, but the honey badger suddenly cuts to the side and slips past its tail. In seconds, it disappears between the rocks. Above, the vulture circles helplessly. The honey badger has escaped both predators once again. Inside the rocky shelter, the honey badger slows down and listens. Outside, the monitor lizard searches around the entrance while the vulture circles above, waiting for another opportunity. The honey badger finds a narrow passage leading deeper into the rocks, then discovers another opening on the opposite side. It pauses at the exit and looks across a wide stretch of open savanna. There is no cover ahead, but staying trapped is even more dangerous. The honey badger steps out onto the open ground. For several seconds, nothing happens. Then a shadow races across the savanna. The vulture has spotted it. The bird dives again, but the honey badger is already moving. It sprints toward a distant cluster of rocks, forcing the vulture to chase from above. Every wing beat brings the predator closer, but the honey badger keeps running. Suddenly, it changes direction sharply across the grass. The vulture follows the movement and dives, but the sudden turn throws off its approach. The bird pulls upward just above the ground, while the honey badger races beneath a low rock ledge and disappears from sight. The vulture circles overhead, searching frantically, but the honey badger has once again vanished into cover. Beneath the rocky ledge, the honey badger waits in silence. Outside, the vulture lands and begins searching the ground, convinced its target is still nearby. The honey badger slowly crawls deeper beneath the rocks, finds a narrow opening leading toward thicker vegetation, and waits until the vulture turns away. Then, with a sudden burst of speed, it slips through the hidden gap and disappears into the grass. The vulture looks back, but once again, it is too late. The honey badger disappears deeper into the grass, finally putting the rocky battlefield behind it. Ahead, the grass opens onto a small muddy waterhole. The honey badger approaches cautiously, scanning the surface before lowering its head for a drink. For a few seconds, everything is silent. Then, the water suddenly ripples. Something is moving beneath the surface, and the honey badger freezes. The ripples grow wider. Suddenly, the head of a large crocodile rises from the muddy water, its eyes fixed directly on the honey badger. The badger instantly steps backward, but the crocodile surges toward the bank, snapping its powerful jaws. The honey badger leaps sideways and escapes the first lunge by inches. The crocodile remains half submerged, waiting for another opportunity.